My name is Lorane Barrera, and I'm currently with the Reading Department at Mesa Community College. My role working with first-generation college students has been under the programs of TRIO, First Year Experience, Early College Academy, as well as the ACE. What I do to go ahead and have students have that sense of belonging and be valuable at the community college is that as an instructor, I establish a community of learners. By doing that, we go into creating classroom norms that are going to be collaborative within our groups. We also go ahead and do introductions, explain a little bit more about our names and where did our names come from. We have an activity that I call Listen and Speak, where I allow for partners to go ahead and have 2 minutes where they share these experiences based on a given topic, where one person will listen and the other one is speaking using the full minute. We also answer to personalized questions. So one of the strategies that I do at the beginning of class is that I will prompt them with a real-life question that aligns to their sense of belonging on campus, as well as what may be happening in their home, their life, their work. We also go ahead and have a moment of midpoint within the lesson or the class just to check in. How are we doing? Is everything okay? Do we need to go back and revisit the topic? I also have the students do a lot of networking. So initially at the beginning of the semester, students get comfortable within their group, and then maybe 2 weeks in, 3 weeks, I move the group members. That way they could go ahead and network and really get to meet everyone in the class. And this is where I say we build on a community of learners. We also tap into resources that the campus has to offer. And so I will have visitors come in and speak to the students, other facilitators from the programs. One of the other things that I will do is if a student is absent, I will send an email, check in, what happened, why were we absent, is there anything that the student may need? Usually they respond back. And so that kind of surprises my students when I check in on their attendance. The other thing that I tend to do is I'm very flexible because life is happening for our students. And so I want to be able to provide that flexibility. If they were unable to turn in an assignment or maybe they needed to work with the tutor a little bit more. So I provide some flexibility. The other strategy that I use is the feed forward. So we tend to go back with feedback when it comes to assignments, but I turn around and actually focus on feed forward, which really taps into their learning experience. What can be done differently? Maybe that approach needs to be revisited, or maybe they just came up with a new way of handling that particular concept to be able to submit a final product when it comes to an assignment. Some of the institutional resources that I tend to use throughout the semester when it comes to students who are struggling or are being successful is that I have a team of facilitators, even embedded tutors where I utilize throughout the whole semester. So I'm very fortunate to be able to have those connections and my students know these individuals and know what they can do to help them. So if they're struggling, for example, with their grades, I use our retention specialist who will have that one-to-one meeting with the student to go ahead and provide additional resources. I also have the embedded tutor in my courses where my students know that they could go ahead and reach the embedded tutor to go ahead and have those one-to-one sessions as well. So for my struggling students, those are my resources that I tend to use. For my success, which I always capitalize on having success moments with my students, I refer them to Student Life, to the program that handles the scholarships. We also recognize those moments in the classroom because we want to go ahead and build that community of learners in successful moments. So, other than having that role at Mesa Community College and providing that sense of belonging for the students that I service, I work in trying to make sure that it's not just a one-time moment for the semester, but for the duration of their college pathway. So I constantly connect with my students when I see them down in working in the library or walking down the breezeway on our campus. I recognize them. I acknowledge what they're working on. I ask them those questions. So what's next? What are we doing? How can I help you? So I tend to build that relationship with my students, which makes me feel really good to be part of this community.